Good morning, good day, and good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all races, ages, genders, sexual orientations, religions, etc. If you've been following me on this channel for a while, do you know I enjoy covering characters that don't always receive the attention they deserve? Sometimes they're comic book characters, sometimes they're historical figures, and sometimes they're video game protagonists. Today's character falls into the latter category. Unlike characters like Master Chief, Commander Shepard, or even Marcus Phoenix, this character never utters a single line of dialogue. He doesn't have an elaborate backstory, a memorable catchphrase, or even an official name. Despite that, he managed to survive one of the deadliest extraterrestrial conflicts in science fiction while battling both Xenomorphs and Predators. I'm talking, of course, about the character known simply as Rookie. Wait, didn't you cover this character before? You may ask. Why, yes I did. I even did a 6-part series of this character. That said, if you recall back to my final video of the character, this series was meant to be more like my other videos where it was one long video, but I decided to chop it up into parts. So maybe one day I'll release a full version of this series. This is that video I was talking about. With that being said, one may ask, I don't remember Rookie. It's been so long since I last heard about him. Who is he again? Well, very little is known about Rookie before the events of the game. His real name is never revealed, as Sega and Rebellion intentionally kept his identity vague so players could project themselves into the role. What is known is that Rookie completed his initial entry training at Orbital Fort Osney in the United States Colonial Marine Corps in the 1st Battalion, 3rd Regiment, and attained the rank of private. He was the first of his unit to be assigned to the USS Marlow, a Bougainville-class attack transport ship. With such an honor, many of his fellow trainees envied him for being placed on duty of a vessel like the Marlow. They would come to realize that they were the lucky ones. You'll see soon why. His unit was dispatched to investigate a distress call from the Freya's Prospect colony and a severe Xenomorph outbreak that had overwhelmed the local Weyland-Yutani facility, which is located on the jungle planet known as BG-386. The planet gets its name from BG-3, the star, the 8th planet from the star, and 6 on the Terra Index. What initially appeared to be a routine security operation would quickly become one of the bloodiest military disasters in Colonial Marine history. When the Marlow's dropship arrived over BG-386, everything immediately went wrong. The pilots of the dropship would attempt to communicate with the ground unit on the planet. While preparing for a combat drop, an unknown vessel appeared out of nowhere after uncloaking itself. The vessel would then fire a series of shots at the Marlow, splitting it in half and likely killing all crew members on board. Seeing the disaster happen before his eyes, the dropship's commanding officer, Major Van Zandt, orders the crew to strap in to their seats to prepare for a descent onto the planet as the shockwave of the explosion was heading their way. This order included the game's marine protagonist, only referred to as Rookie. Rookie will follow the orders of Major Van Zandt, and was likely flustered with emotions as one of his peers, Corporal Teresa Aquila aka Tequila, poked fun at him, asking if he had experienced a combat drop in simulation. Tequila would not get an answer to this question as the shockwave hit the dropship, which led to Rookie being hit in the face with a loose storage crate, knocking him unconscious. The crew would land on the planet while Rookie was unconscious. Upon waking up, he would see Tequila assisting him to shelter. The remaining crew would be debriefed on the mission. They were made aware of a potential Xenomorph infestation, something the Marines had previous encounters with. Rookie will fall several times en route to shelter. Given his physical state, he was unfit for duty to fight with his team. Little did he know, he was spared a brutal end. Upon a crew's initial investigation of the colony, they were attacked and killed by a horde of Xenomorphs before they even had a chance to establish control of the landing zone. Xenomorphs swarmed the Marines from every direction, tearing soldiers apart within seconds. Separated from the rest of his unit, Rookie was completely alone in an unfamiliar colony filled with hostile aliens. From that point forward, survival, not victory, became his primary objective. Rookie awakened after the hellacious battle and was surrounded by destroyed Colonial Marine equipment and the bodies of fallen Marines. He would be contacted by Tequila, who guides him on how to maneuver around the colony and take care of himself on the fly. He was instructed to make his way to Tequila while being watched closely by stealthy Xenomorphs. While attempting to reset the system, Rookie was attacked by an unknown entity. Needing to find a way out, he forced open the door. But on the other side of the door was a Xenomorph, likely the same one that had attacked him earlier. He made short work of the creature before moving on to Tequila's location. He will fight off another Xenomorph while helplessly listening to the death of his fellow Marines being attacked by another horde of Xenomorphs. Rookie would eventually find Tequila, where he gets his hands on the Marines' famous weapon, the M41 Alpha pulse rifle. Rookie is then instructed to go on another solo adventure to assist a group of Marines at a club who requested fire support. He would get to the club to discover that it was turned into a Xenomorph hive, and likely a Yautja predator was in the vicinity, given the skinned corpses hanging from the ceiling. A Marine by the name of Private Gibson was en route to assist Rookie, but was overwhelmed by Xenomorphs and killed. Rookie will fight off a group of Xenomorphs while Tequila worked on an exit for Rookie. He would survive and regroup with more Marines. This reunion would not last, as more Xenomorphs closed in on the surviving Marines' location and killed them all. All except for Rookie, obviously, and another Marine, whose survivability is limited. Upon seeing the never-ending swarm of Xenomorphs closing in on the lone surviving Marine, Rookie retreats into the sewers. The hostile aliens will prove that not even the sewers are a safe location, as Rookie is forced to run for his life. His attempt at escape was futile, as he was captured by a Xenomorph and dragged on the ground, seemingly to his death. Rookie would awaken to discover he is being dragged by the Xenomorph, likely to be cocooned for further breeding. Instead of that, Rookie shoots the Xenomorph dead. He makes his way through the area to discover he is by the refinery. Tequila instructs Rookie to fix the communication system so she can contact Major Van Zant, who was captured by the Xenomorphs. In this process, Rookie would encounter his first facehugger, while further fighting off more Xenomorphs. He would eventually make his way to the dish needed to re-establish comms before heading deeper into the refinery to find the Major. Rookie gradually discovers that Weyland-Yutani's operations extended far beyond ordinary mining. This included discovering Carl Bishop Weyland, the head of Weyland-Yutani, was at the pyramid, something they weren't aware of. This hinted at the corporation knowingly endangering everyone stationed on BG-386. Rookie would eventually find Major Van Zant in the Xenomorph hive. Unfortunately, he will find the Major not only cocooned, but also impregnated by a facehugger. Facing an inevitable death, the Major asks Rookie to spare him a painful death. Rookie will follow his commanding officer's final wish and shot him. Rookie will make his way deeper into the refinery, while fighting off more Xenomorphs until he eventually encountered the Matriarch, an ancient Xenomorph queen responsible for the infestation of the planet. Despite the numerous Xenomorphs and facehuggers attempting to stop Rookie from killing the queen, they failed to protect her from burning. Rookie would then escape through a malfunctioning door into the jungle. Leaving the refinery behind, Rookie enters the dense jungles surrounding the colony. Instead of finding safety, he discovers an entirely new battlefield. In this battlefield, he will discover a predator had skinned its victim and likely taunting Rookie, as well as another Marine on a solo mission fighting off acid-spitting Xenomorphs with an M42 Charlie sniper rifle. Upon silently walking up to the distracted Marine, one of the spitters killed the Marine with its acid. Rookie will make quick work of the Xenomorph in honor of his fallen comrade. Needing to get off the planet, Rookie is instructed by Tequila to get to a transmitter tower to lock in on its location on board another dropship called the Typhoon. Rookie would eventually make it to said transmitter, and with Tequila giving Rookie the heads up to get a ride back home, they would survive to tell the tale of their time on BG-386. Or so they thought. Instead, an unknown predator, likely the same one from earlier, would attack from multiple directions and eventually shoot down the Typhoon. The hapless Marine would continue to fight off more Xenomorphs before being contacted by an android named Katya, who informs Rookie of her intentions to help him get to other Marines. While helping her, the predator that was stalking him in the jungle would not only take down another Xenomorph, but also attempted to attack him. Seeing the dangers of yet another hostile alien species, Rookie runs deeper into the jungle. In the depths of the jungle, he would not only fight off more Xenomorphs, but also fight off combat androids, which are apparently illegal, according to Katya. Rookie will survive the encounter and into the ancient Yautja ruins. Rookie eventually reaches the ancient ruins hidden beneath the jungle. He makes his way through the cave area, fighting off multiple Xenomorphs. He eventually makes it to an area full of combat androids. After making short work of them, he would find two Marines from Zulu Team, Roper and Denone. Zulu Team was sent in to investigate the crashed Typhoon. The two Marines were left behind to guard the crash site while the others searched deeper into the ruins. With the impending Xenomorph attack, Roper advises Rookie to take the nearby M59 Bravo smart gun. The trio would battle their way through the ambush before meeting Connor, another member of Zulu Team and pilot of the Typhoon. Connor would assist Rookie with finding Tequila, who was taken away by a Xenomorph. The two would make their way deeper into the ruins before discovering a Yautja beheading another Marine. One could say this was the way the Predator was taunting the Marines. The two would venture deeper into the ruins while battling multiple spitter Xenomorphs. Later into their travels, Connor would fall victim to one of the Xenomorphs, leaving Rookie all alone again. Despite this, Rookie would venture closer to Tequila's location. Before he can enter a lab, Rookie is confronted by a Yautja, the same one that has been following him since the jungle. It throws him into a battle pit and challenges Rookie to combat. Rookie will fight the challenger and eventually emerge victorious. With this victory, Rookie moved back to the lab. Katya will find Tequila's life signal, indicating she survived the crash and the Xenomorphs. he would venture deeper into the hived rear of the lab and fight off multiple Xenomorphs guarding Tequila. Rookie will make short work of them and eventually discover Tequila. Unfortunately, she would reveal she has a facehugger inside her. Before Rookie would have to repeat the same request of his former commanding officer, Katya intervenes and tells Rookie she can possibly save her. Rookie gets her down, and the two would make their way out of the lab and out of the ruins. Rookie and Tequila would make their way into the research labs, where Weyland-Yutani scientists were conducting experiments of various scales, from the scientifically curious to the downright malicious. Their mission was to get Tequila to Katya to attempt to surgically remove the facehugger from her body. While entering the facility, they would be warned by Weyland to turn around and leave the facility alone. For Tequila's sake, they would not follow his orders and venture deeper into the lab. They would eventually get into a firefight with combat androids before moving on to get Tequila medical attention for her ever-aggressive facehugger in her body. Weyland would continue to attempt to persuade the two from proceeding, but again, they did not take his advice. The two would finally make it to Katya for surgery, but Weyland would interfere with the operation. Having knowledge of Katya sending a distress call to the Marines for them to handle the outbreak, Weyland would shut down the surgery attempt as an official reprimand of Katya. With Tequila's life in deeper peril, Katya advises Rookie to place her in a stasis pod to put her in hypersleep. With a heartfelt goodbye to the only Marine he grew close to, Rookie closes the lid with the hope of saving her life. Rookie meets Katya, who relays a mission for Rookie to get a datapad off of Weyland's hands to get the trio off the planet. With the new mission at hand, Rookie battles his way through Xenomorphs and combat androids. After some time, the Xenomorphs caught on to the ease of Rookie's killing of their kind, so they sent in a new Xenomorph, the Praetorian. Rookie would battle the Praetorian and her minions before defeating her and descending into the location of Weyland and the datapad, the Pyramid. Now onto the Pyramid. Rookie seeks to find Weyland and take the datapad off his hands. That wouldn't come easy as he was confronted by a horde of Xenomorphs preventing his entry. After a hellacious battle with the smaller Xenomorphs, the final two would appear in a last stand against the uncompromising Marine. The final two being, yet again, Praetorians. After killing the two Praetorians, Rookie is praised by Weyland on his determination to confront him. He is then invited by Weyland to meet face to face. Upon meeting Weyland, Rookie learns that Weyland has close ties to the Colonial Marine Corps. So close that he owns the Corps, meaning he owns Rookie. With this mindset, he deems Rookie to be an asset to be disposed of. Instead of doing it himself, he orders the combat androids in the area with stolen Yautja tech to deal with him. If multiple Xenomorphs and lesser androids can take Rookie down, what makes him think they could? After eliminating the combat androids, nothing stood between Rookie and Weyland. Armed with the combat shotgun, Weyland, now shown to have been an android the whole time, would engage in a fierce battle with Rookie, though the battle-hardened Marine would emerge victorious. Rookie would make his way up some steps and grabs the illustrious datapad, but the thought to be dead Weyland will return from standby mode and attack Rookie again. The two will fall down the steps in an uncomfortable rollover. The two would notice a datapad between them and then each other. In a final standoff, Rookie shoots Weyland in his android head and sent him falling into a lava pit below, ending the android that was Carl Bishop Weyland. As the pyramid begins to crumble, Rookie retakes the datapad and runs for his life. It is shown Rookie's attempt to escape was for naught, though he is shown standing strong with the datapad in hand, to the glee of Katya. The trio of Katya, Tequila, and Rookie will leave BG-386 to never return to the damned planet again. They were all aboard a Weyland-Yutani vessel in stasis. It is then revealed that the pilots had taken the datapad and transmitted the contents to their superior that contained the coordinates to the Xenomorph homeworld. Their superior being another Weyland android. As of the recording of this video, their fates, while appearing grim, has yet to be confirmed. Despite a compelling story of a Colonial Marine surviving one of the deadliest incidents in the Corps' history, Rookie has rarely, if ever, been mentioned in later Alien media. The character remains one of the franchise's forgotten protagonists despite accomplishing feats rivaling many better-known Colonial Marines. Unlike many video game protagonists, his short story was never about glory. It was about survival. Rookie is a Marine.
First to fight, he's loyal.
So he is trained to defend the futuristic United States against enemies that are foreign, domestic, and in this universe, extraterrestrial. Though not known for his melee, aside from pushing enemies off of him, Rookie carried an assortment of Colonial Marine equipment. This includes the M4A3 service pistol, the M41 Alpha pulse rifle, M59 Bravo smart gun, M42 Charlie sniper rifle, M260 Bravo flamethrower, the Zulu X-Ray 76 shotgun, a heads-up display motion tracker, a shoulder-mounted flashlight, and standard Colonial Marine combat armor. Rookie is also shown to be a skilled individual throughout the game. Such skills include Colonial Marine training. Rookie demonstrates extensive military training in firearms, survival, navigation, and combat under extreme pressure. He is shown utilizing a hacking tool in the game, indicating he is a combat technician. Marksmanship. Throughout the campaign, Rookie utilizes numerous Colonial Marine weapons against Xenomorphs, Predators, and combat androids with lethal accuracy. Adaptability. Perhaps one of his greatest strengths is his ability to adapt. Every mission introduces new threats, yet he continuously changes his tactics to survive. Mental fortitude. Fighting alone in the dark against two of the galaxy's most dangerous creatures isn't easy on the mind. Not to mention seeing peers being killed along the way, some in a violent manner. Few humans could endure this level of psychological trauma. Rookie presses forward regardless. Survival instinct. More than anything else, Rookie's defining characteristic is survival. He constantly escapes situations where death appears inevitable. thank you for watching this video. When one thinks about great video game protagonists, names like Master Chief, Doomslayer, Solid Snake, and even the great Commander Shepard usually come to mind. Rookie almost never enters the conversation, and honestly, I think that sucks. One can look at the problems the game had, including its mixed reception, or one can look at Sega primarily focusing on the eventual disaster that was Aliens Colonial Marines. Regardless of the reasoning, the story of Rookie, Katya, and Tequila may never be known, and that's an unfortunate reality fans of the game have to live with. Fingers crossed I'm wrong. On a final note, it took a while for me to upload the full version of the character, but as I've proven time and time again, if I say I'll do something in the future, it'll get done. And with that being said, thank you for watching, take care of yourselves, make good decisions, and have a wonderful rest of your day.